special presentation of ABC Sports.
He has coached 6 Super Bowl teams. He has 3 Super Bowl rings. Art Shell and Don Shula. The Miami Dolphins celebrated glorious seasons in the 70s and early 80s. Yet recent years brought hard times to a man not comfortable with losing. But the Dolphins are winning again this year. They're 8-1 and thinking Super Bowl once again.
The reason I signed a new contract here last year was to try to get this football team back on top. Well, this season, everything is going fine, and you couldn't ask for it to be any better. Our defense being the #1 ranked defense in the National Football League, and offensively having better balance.
The Los Angeles Raiders have also seen the glory years with 3 Super Bowl wins. But they, too, suffered through difficult seasons. But when Hall of Famer Art Shell was named head coach last season, the pride and poise returned to the Raiders, their division leaders once again.
Well, what I've tried to do with this team is to change the attitude about winning and losing. This is a very good football team. This team has the capability on offense and defense of getting to the Super Bowl.
The Los Angeles Raiders beat the Miami Dolphins on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Stadium on a beautiful South Florida evening. A perfect night for football. The temperature expected to drop into the 60s. Little or no wind and a capacity crowd inside of 73,000 for tonight's game between the Los Angeles Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, 2 longtime rivals in the AFC. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. We're so happy you're with us. We've looked forward to this game for a long time. The 2 winningest teams in the history of the National Football League, the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, and they're both back on top. The Miami Dolphins got off to a great start this year. They're 8-1. They lost only to the undefeated New York Giants, and it's a remarkable turnaround from an 8-8 season a year ago. They've done it with Marino, but basically they're the best defense, at least at the moment, in the National Football League. The Raiders, they got off to a great start. They won their first 4, 6 of their first 7. They've staggered a little over the last 2. They've lost a couple of games. And Al Michaels, I think it's very important for the Raiders, if they're going to stay hot as they've been and get their win tonight and stay 1 game ahead of Kansas City, to get it together tonight and regain the confidence they had at the beginning of the season.
Frank, I think this is an extremely important game for the Raiders, who feel in a way that they are back. Well, they have not had a winning season since 1985. That's the last time they were in the playoffs. And frankly, this is a team that's been in a lot of flux, not only on the field, but certainly off the field in the mid-'80s and in the late 80s. Remember, when this season began, they didn't know whether they were staying in Los Angeles. They didn't know whether they were moving to the L.A. suburb of Irwindale. They didn't know if they were going back to Oakland. They didn't know if they were going to Sacramento or even Casablanca, for all we know. But as far as it is concerned right now, Al Davis has made his deal with Los Angeles. They will remain there. Stability apparently has returned. Art Shell has created stability on the field, but they have staggered the last 2 weeks, especially offensively. What they need tonight is a better performance than they've gotten the last 2 weeks from the quarterback, Jay Schrader, and maybe finally some explosiveness from Bo Jackson, who is in a football uniform for the 4th time this season, but comes in averaging a very ordinary 3.7 yards per carry. If the Raider glory years are truly back, Dan, they will celebrate a victory on the red eye tonight back to Los Angeles against the Miami team that is 8-1. That surprises a lot of people, but maybe it shouldn't when you look at the head coach.
Well, you look at new players, Al, that come into the mix, and you look at all the variables. The one thing here in South Florida and Miami has remained the same, and of course, Don Shula, in his 28th year as a head coach here in the National Football League, only the legendary George Halas has more victories than Don Shula, and it's very conceivable that Shula could overtake Halas. But when you look specifically at the Dolphin team, what's the big difference? Well, it has to be on the defensive side of the ball. The Miami pound machine, they're called. I think Jeff Cross, a very talented defensive end, said it best. He said, we're a make-believe defense. Every time we play, we make a believer out of someone else. It's the Raiders and the Dolphins. In a turbulent year here in the National Football League, it's comforting to know that these 2 are playing a big game.
And certainly the crowd is very much into it. They have been for the better part of an hour during the warm-ups as this stadium began to fill up. you heard the chant of defense, defense from what is now a capacity crowd at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Raiders to kick off. Jaeger puts it in the air to Scott Schwades from the 2. Schwades, who was just re-signed last week, brings it back to the 32-yard line. Because of the Dolphin injury, Schwades, who had been a Dolphin and had gone to San Diego, has come back. Dan Marino throwing less but enjoying it more because of a rejuvenated Dolphin ground game. His numbers on the season reflected there. Sammy Smith and Mark Logan start as the running backs. Duper and Tony Martin the wideouts. Mark Clayton is hurt. Edmonds the tight end. And the 2 rookies on the left side have really solidified this offensive line. Webb and Sims. Marino on first down to throw, and incomplete through the hands of the versatile Jim Jensen, who, because of those Dolphin injuries, will see even more action tonight than he normally does. The Raiders play a basic 4-3 with Long and Golick. Scott Davis having an excellent year, as is Greg Townsend. The linebackers, Ricky Ellison, the former 49er, is in the middle between Robinson and Benson. The corners, McDaniel and Washington. The safeties, the former Bronco Mike Harden and the hard-hitting Eddie Anderson. 2nd and 10. Dolphins from the 31-yard line. Jensen goes in motion, and Sammy Smith finds no room and is pushed back after the initial contact. It is Greg Townsend who finishes Smith off, and Smith will do more ball carrying tonight than normal because of the absence of the fullback Tony Page, who not only provides the blocking normally for him and carries the ball occasionally, but has been the Dolphins' leading receiver.
And a 3rd down and 10. Al, the Dolphins bring in the 4 wide receivers. Scott Schwades comes into the lineup. Tony Martin is there, Mark Duper. And Troy Stratford, number 23, had a big game last week. A good running back, a good receiver out of the backfield.
3rd and 10 from the 31. Marino, 4-man rush, and that's something you don't see a lot. Marino gets sacked, but there's also a flag down. Greg Townsend will get the sack. The Raiders last week sacked Don Mikowski 8 times, and the call here is against Miami for holding.
Holding, 62 offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
I think Townsend not only got the sack, but he forced the hold on Harry Galbraith as well. He kind of catches Galbraith by surprise, and Galbraith has really in that position not much of a choice but to ride him to the ground, and Townsend gets the sack and the hold. Not a bad way to start the game.
Reggie Roby, as usual, a great average, 43.2. Raiders try to block it and almost do. There's contact made. There is a flag down as well as Roby was run into. And another flag after the run back by Tim Brown brings him to the 36. So you've got a flag for either roughing or running into the kicker, and another flag on the run back. Referee is Gordon McCarter.
And of course, this will be a critical decision by Gordon McCarter, which to call, running into or roughing the kicker. Running into the kicker, remember, is only a 5-yard penalty.
We have 2 fouls. Personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 51 on the defense. Illegal block in the back. On the receiving team in return. Okay, the penalty's offset. Repeat the down.
Well, if he just said that they're both against the Raiders, they would not offset. If what McCarter said is correct, both penalties are against the Raiders.
Yeah, and they're going back to huddle up again here, and I think McCarter's going to correct this. It's going to be a 1st down for Miami.
All right. The illegal block was against number 25 of the receivers. The roughing the kicker will be accepted. 15 yards, 1st down.
Yeah. That's what I talked about. Remember, the referee in that situation has to make a decision. Was it just running into the kicker, or was it roughing the kicker? And in this case, it was called roughing the kicker. That's a 15-yard personal foul and a 1st down. A critical error by the Raiders here early.
Aaron Wallace just took a bad angle to that punt. He had no way to block it, but he couldn't hardly miss Roby, and he connected and got the penalty. He didn't go for where the ball was going to come off the foot, and that's what you've got to do.
Miami maintains possession, 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Sammy Smith is the sole running back. That's Jensen in motion. And Smith spins to the 40-yard line. He is stopped by Greg Townsend after a gain of 2. And it will be 2nd down and 8. Sammy Smith has, at this point, as you saw, amassed over 500 yards. So he's on a pace that would net him 900 to 950 yards for the season, which is a lot in the recent history of the Miami Dolphins. It's been a long time since they've had a 1,000-yard rusher. Troy Stratford comes in now as the running back in this set. Marino on 2nd and 8, and Marino gets sacked again. Scott Davis is there for the sack, and remember, it's Marino and that Dolphin line that pretty much had protected Marino for what amounted to 1 full season. He had gone that long without being sacked.
Boy, this is strictly a power rush to the outside by Davis. He's working against Keith Sims, their rookie at left guard, and boy, that's just getting the leverage. And Dan Marino, look at his awareness, seeing that sack coming from the backside and jumping up into the air, kind of riding Davis to the ground. Boy, an impressive start here by the Raider front 4 early.
Marino had been sacked only 6 times all season coming into the game. 3rd and 15 from the 33. Raiders rush 4, and Marino just throws it up for grabs, and Stratford makes the catch and wishes he had Eddie Anderson, the hitman.
Wow, you're supposed to let him in a little bit on the screen. That time they just flowed in on Marino. He lobbed it up in the air, and it gave Anderson time to cover the ground to get almost into the screen himself. He actually came very close to picking it off.
As an offensive lineman, you're supposed to stop that initial rush of the defensive line and then release to the screen. The Dolphins that time just didn't even rub them.
Roby to kick, Tim Brown back to receive, and it's a very wobbly and very poor kick that spins out of bounds at the 48-yard line, and that's a 22-yard kick for Reggie Roby. So the Raiders will get it with Schrader at the helm near midfield. Raiders have the ball for the first time in the game. 11:36 remaining in the opening quarter, and it's Jay Schrader. Performed well through the first 7 games, but he's had 2 off weeks back-to-back. Marcus Allen, Steve Smith start in the backfield. We'll see a lot of Bo Jackson, of course. Galton Fernandez, the wideouts. Ethan Horton, the converted running back, is the tight end. And the guys up front, Mosbar having a fine year as usual. Montoya, the longtime Bengal, came over to the Raiders in the offseason, doing well at right guard. Marcus Allen into Miami territory, inside the 40, and Marcus Allen to the 33-yard line. And the Raiders begin with a 19-yard gain on the ground against the league's #1 defense. Green and Oliver make the tackle.
Exactly what Art Shell told us we were going to see. Straight ahead blocking and attack this Miami defense, which has wonderful team speed and excellent pursuit. Fine blocking to the right side behind Wright and Montoya. And what's new about watching Marcus Allen loose in a secondary?
He's been doing it since 1982. Allen started as if he was going into motion, then stops and takes the handoff and picks up about 7 to the 26. Now the Dolphin defense, they've gone from 24th in the league to 1st in the National Football League. 3-man front. Turner, Lee, and Cross has been great at right end. Griggs, Offerdorf, Odom was the plan B guy from Indianapolis, and the veteran Hugh Green. McKyer, of course, came from the 49ers. J.B. Brown at the other corner. And the 2 former Florida Gators, Jarvis Williams and Lewis Oliver, a good pair of safeties. 2nd and 3, and they give it to Allen again over the right side, and Allen, seeking the first down, is very close as he takes it to the 23-yard line. In on the tackle is number 92, David Griggs, the linebacker.
Art Shell last night made no bones about it. He was going to get the running game going no matter how long he had to stay with it. He said, this is what we've got to do. And perhaps putting the defense of the Miami Dolphins in perspective, if we could. They have 6 wins, but 2 of those wins were against New England, 2 were against the Jets, 1 was against Phoenix, and 1 was against Indianapolis. 6 of their 8 against teams that aren't considered major powerhouses offensively.
Meanwhile, the Raiders, as you saw, have been stymied on the ground through the last 2 games, but begin promisingly tonight. Allen, the 4th straight time, picks up the first down, takes it to the 19-yard line, and one of the reasons Steve Smith sees a lot of action at fullback was evident right there. A good block to pave the way.
Good block to lead Allen, but also a very smart move on the part of Allen. Good heads-up running. He could have strung that to the sideline, maybe gone for big distance, but he knew he was going to get the first down. 35 is Steve Smith. Buries the linebacker trying to close. Now watch Allen. He didn't go to the outside. He knew where the first down was. He cut it back against the grain and got it.
1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Allen, a 5th straight time, takes it to the 14. And you don't have to worry about using him up, because if he needs a blow, you just go to the benchman number 34, Bo Jackson.
You know, I kidded him about that last night, Allen. I said, you know, you're 30 years old, you're a running back, you shouldn't be carrying that thing 20, 25 times a game. He said, look, I'm 30 years old, but I can carry it that many times a game. He's not terribly happy about it. And I believe him. He's in great shape, not beat up too much over his career. And he would like to get it that many times.
He's already carried as many times tonight as he did all of last week. And here he is again. So a portent of things to come for the Raiders, as Allen is on the ground, taking it down to the 10-yard line. 6 carries in a row. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 10.
And this is about the time where the Miami defense starts talking to one another in the huddle, saying, what is happening here, guys? This can't be happening to us. A lot of raised eyebrows and looking around. There's Tom Olivedati, their defensive coordinator. And this is a defense that hasn't spent much time this season back on their heels. This is where they find themselves right now.
3rd and 1. Smith, the fullback. Allen, the tailback. That's Mueller in motion. And who else? Marcus puts his head down and is stopped at about the 9 by Jeff Cross. And it's going to be, I think, a little short of the first down.
A little short, and big decision time for Art Shell on the sidelines. You've been able to move the ball on the ground. Shall we go on 4th down, or do we put it through the uprights?
He really looks concerned, doesn't he? Come on, Art. Supposed to look a little more tense than that. It is 4th down.
So 7 consecutive rushes for Marcus Allen. Schrader looks over toward the bench. Allen's been the whole drive. It started at the Raider 48. It is now down to the 9. The play clock as the Raiders huddle is down to 10.
Allen is pointing to the clock ticking away the seconds.
On 4th and inches, it's Allen, and he doesn't get it.
There's the pound machine. Boy, that'll give him a big lift.
A mistake there by the Los Angeles Raiders. If you're going to go for it on 4th down, don't rush the play. Right there, the Raiders were in such a hurry to try to beat the clock that they didn't get off the line of scrimmage. The left side of the line was slow getting off. Miami reacted to the ball. Louis Oliver gets in there and makes the play. You can't argue with the decision, but the execution was very poor.
The well once too often on that last drive. Allen carrying 8 straight times, stopped at the 10. 1st down, Miami. And it's a toss to Sammy Smith. A flag is dropped as Smith takes it out to the 16. He is tackled there by Scott Davis. Gordon McCarter is the referee. Line judge was the man who made the call. And it's a motion penalty against the Dolphins.
Illegal motion. Number 80, offense, 5 yards, repeat, 1st down.
Farrell Edmonds. Well, we talked about Marino. Remember, between early 88 and mid 89, he went 19 consecutive games without getting sacked, and he's been sacked twice already tonight. Here was the first one. Townsend crashing through.
I think it might have been the setup of the pass pattern. He didn't have the little check off because he actually had time to flip it to a back in the backfield, but he just didn't have one out there.
Scott Davis got the other sack, and Sammy Smith goes nowhere on 1st and 15. Lionel Washington up from the corner to break the play up, helped out by Jerry Robinson.
It'll be interesting tonight to see how Sammy Smith reacts to this type of defense that the Raiders play up front, because they penetrate, they crash gaps, they try every time to get someone a yard or so upfield, Frank, to disrupt that blocking scheme, and Smith can't bounce it to the outside every time or he's going to get caught.
You got to look at it and slash it back to the inside. Go against the grain is about the only way you're going to make yardage.
2nd and 15. He's going to have to do it tonight also without Tony Page, who's done such a marvelous job blocking. Page is hurt and on the inactive list. Garrett Limbrick is in there in the backfield with Smith, and the pass is thrown complete to number 89, Tony Martin, out to the 14-yard line. Mike Harden makes the tackle, and Martin will see some action tonight in the absence of Mark Clayton.
That's Marino without pressure. You saw that little flick of the wrist. Let's take a look at Martin. Hometown boy, grew up here, went to Northwestern High School. A lot of pressure on him. They took a little off. They took him off the punt return team, figuring he'd relax a little bit. He's been struggling. He had a great preseason, and they're counting heavily upon him tonight with Banks being out and Andre Brown and, of course, Clayton.
No score, 4:57 left, first quarter, 3rd and 5, Miami. Marino out of the shotgun, and it's incomplete. Looking for the flag was Mark Duper, but none is thrown. Lionel Washington, who was let go by the Cardinals. He was getting burned a lot in Phoenix, and the Raiders picked him up, and he's done a great job for L.A.
He's the type of cornerback that might get called every game or every other game, maybe for an interference call, but that is because he plays just like that. He will play in that gray area, not afraid to take a chance, and he'll put that left hand on a receiver, and more often than not, he'll get away with it.
Roby's first punt was 22 yards, and this is certainly more Roby-like. In fact, it's a 52-yard kick to the 33, and Tim Brown brings it back to the 44. Brown coming back after knee surgery cost him almost all of the 1989 season. Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. 4:35 left in the first quarter. Nothing. On go to Houston. Warren Moon, big day yesterday, threw for 5 touchdowns. Next Monday night, and then of course 2 weeks from tonight, Candlestick Park, the Giants against the 49ers. Here, no score, first down LA from the 44, and Marcus Allen takes it to the 50. If you're wondering, they keep about every record you can think of in sports, but there is no category for most consecutive rushes, so there's nothing to look up. Allen has carried the ball 9 consecutive times. I can't think of anybody ever carrying 9 times.
But if anybody was going to do it, you'd think it'd be done on a team coached by an offensive lineman, Art Shell. They love to run the ball. They hate to throw it. Look at that, 9-0, all running. That pleases Art Shell, an old tackle, immensely.
Allen 9 carries for 48 yards. 2nd and 4, and this is Bo Jackson taking it to the 49 of Miami, so they give Allen a breather. Jackson picks up about 1.5 yards. John Offerdahl makes the tackle. What about the Raiders' normal play selection coming in this season? There it is. They have run 55% of the time and thrown 45%.
If you look at the Raiders and their blocking scheme, it doesn't get any simpler than what they're trying to do. It is nothing more than man-to-man, take your guy, and blocking backwards.
Now on 3rd and 3, you've got Jackson and Allen together in the backfield.
Allen, one of the fine receivers out of the backfield.
They leave Allen in to block, and he does his job, and the pass is caught by Mervin Fernandez very close to a first down. It's going to depend on the spot at the 46-yard line, and looks close enough to measure.
Ooh, Mervin broke that thing off a yard early, Frank. I mean, that's his job, to be able to get at least to run that pattern at the 45-yard line. You can't come up short on only needing 3 yards for a first down.
Exactly. You have to take it up to get the yardage for the first down. It's really knowing where you are on the field. Fernandez, of course, averaging nearly 18 yards a carry. He's usually not the possession type of receiver for the Raiders, but he ekes it out.
By the length of the football, a first down at the 46-yard line.
I don't think a wide receiver would like to stroll over to the sidelines and explain to his 300-pound coach why he came up 6 inches short on a first down pass pattern. I wouldn't want to explain it to that guy.
First and 10. Napoleon McCallum is in the game for the first time, and it's McCallum laying down the block for Bo Jackson, who bursts through the middle and takes it to the 37. Jackson, coming into this game, does not have a run this year longer than 11 yards.
Carried it about 35 times, as Niala gained about 118 yards coming into it. And he just has not been able to break one off, but you can see here the acceleration. Many people would tell you that he runs a little better to his left, and he does it right. Most runners have a side that they prefer to run to, and he apparently likes it to the left.
2nd and 1. The fake to McCallum. A lot of time for Schrader, and he threads the needle at the 13-yard line, hitting Willie Gault. He's tackled by Oliver, and the Raiders have a first down deep in Miami territory.
Oh, you want to play all night if you can get Gault on an Oliver. Oliver, the big safety man, tough hitter from safety, but he's never going to stay with a Willie Gault. And that time he was in a man-for-man situation. Schrader with all the time in the world, Dan, to let Gault uncover. But Oliver, good hitter, good in his zone, man-to-man, forget it. Gault's going to beat him.
Well, that's from a protection standpoint. That's what happens when you run the ball that many times. I mean, the pass obviously took Miami by surprise. And Louis Oliver says, well, if I can't cover him, I'll talk to him.
1:20 left, opening quarter, no score. First down. This is McCallum, the former Navy star, taking it to the 11-yard line. There is no shortage of running backs with the Raiders. You start with Allen and Jackson. You go to Napoleon McCallum. You've got Steve Smith and a guy named Greg Bell on injured reserve.
Interesting contrast tonight. The Raiders possessing the ball almost the entire first quarter, whereas last week against Green Bay, they only managed a little over 20 minutes of possession.
When you go 6 games without allowing a rushing touchdown, you will win a lot, and the Dolphins have.
On 2nd and 8, Jackson swings to the outside, and is stopped at the 12-yard line. Jarvis Williams coming up to break the play up.
And one of the great parts of this defense, we talk about their run defense, but a lot of it is support from that secondary. You saw Jarvis Williams there a moment ago. This secondary is vastly improved. The corners, McKyer and Brown, have really made a difference in the secondary, and you saw Williams coming up and make the stop and holding Bo Jackson to about 1.5 yards.
Big third down play comes up for the Raiders when the second quarter starts. And back we come after this commercial message and a word from our ABC station. Back we come to Miami after a rapid first quarter. No score. Raiders threaten as we begin the second quarter. At the 11-yard line, the Raiders come up to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 9. Gault in motion. Allen stays in the block. Then Schrader dumps it off for Allen at the 11-yard line, and Marcus can get only to the 6. 3 yards short of the first down. Rodney Thomas comes up to make the tackle, and the Raiders will send the field goal unit in.
Good coverage, and Don Shula will talk about the coverage sacks that they've had this year. That time Schrader scrambled out. Allen stayed in the backfield to pick up anyone who might be coming on the blitz, and he dumped it off to him. But that was just good coverage by that secondary that we were talking about a moment ago. Vastly improved over a year ago, particularly at the corners with Tim McKyer. They picked him up in a trade, of course, from San Francisco, and J.B. Brown, a 12th-round pick of the 1989.
Jeff Jaeger to attempt the field goal. Jeff Gossett to hold. Raiders having trouble getting set, and they are forced to use a timeout. Somebody coming in late, and LA had to waste a timeout. 47 seconds into the second quarter, no score. Raiders will attempt a field goal as we come back. There are the numbers through the first 15 minutes of play. The only Dolphin first down by way of a penalty. Raiders controlling the flow of the game and the tempo on the ground, and right now they'll try to cash in for 3. 23-yard field goal attempt. Jeff Jaeger with Gossett holding, Dan Turk to snap it. And Los Angeles takes the lead as the Raiders go on top by a score of 3-0 with 14:09 remaining in the opening half. Raiders to kick off, and Jaeger's kick goes out of bounds, but at the 5-yard line. If you kick it out after it passes the goal line, it's simply a touchback. But here, it comes out to the 35-yard line. So Jaeger barking at himself as he walks off the field, and Miami has a first down at the 35. ABC's Monday Night Football.
Hit the field and bounce out. He missed the field by a good 6 or 7 yards. Wide left in the bunker.
It's a big field.
Marino on first down, a little short drop, and Sidney Smith juggled the football. That's Lionel Washington.
Hello. That's picking them up and laying them down. All in one smooth motion.
And that little bobble by Smith attracted the crowd.
Lionel Washington, a rather slight guy at 6 feet, 185 pounds, not known as a bruising tackler, but picking up a much bigger man, and that is a fumble, but the ball came right back to Sammy Smith. The ball comes out way before he hits the ground.
Washington had his helmet right on that ball.
That's a 2-yard difference. Had he held on without juggling, it would have been a 1-yard gain, but it's a fumble recovery and a 1-yard loss. On 2nd and 11, the catch is made by Jensen in between a pair of defenders. Jensen has it out to the 42-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3. Benson and Washington with the coverage.
The baby blues of Dan Marino. An unparalleled release. I think we'd all agree on that. When he makes the decision on where he wants to throw the ball into whom, nobody delivers it fast.
3rd and a short 3 from the 42-yard line. 12:35 to go, first half. 3-0 Raiders. Jensen has to get to the 45. He reaches out, and it is very, very close. You can see where the marker is, right on the chalk at the 45. Robinson makes the tackle.
With a change off by Marino, he looked up and saw the Raiders 9 men across the line of scrimmage. Changed it off, handed to Jensen, and they're close to a first down.
But they don't have it.
Yeah, Jerry Robinson was all over that. I mean, that's the type of play. If Robinson doesn't read that correctly and make the tackle all by himself, that's an easy first down for Jensen and the Dolphins.
And a big gainer.
And here's a decision now for Shula. 4th and inches.
Oh, not from your own 45.
Right. He's going to send Roby in. He thought about it for just a moment because the play clock is right now down to 4 seconds. So they're going to take a delay of penalty as well, which is not necessarily a big deal at this point for Roby.
Now with the Roby, they'll just back it up 5, and he can still spank it way down inside the 20.
So that'll move the line of scrimmage back to the 40.
I can't believe there's any way that Don Shula was seriously considering going for it on 4th down on a 3-0 ball game from your own 45-yard line. That's not at this stage.
You wouldn't think.
The wrist watch on Roby's left hand.
Tim Brown, who won the Heisman when he played at Notre Dame, sets up at his own 20. Roby with a wobbly kick, a fair catch called for at the 21. It's a 39-yard kick for Roby, and the Raiders will take over at their own 21-yard line. 11:24 remaining on a beautiful night in South Florida. First half. Painting as we look down on Joe Robbie Stadium from the newest of the Goodyear blimps, the Spirit of Akron. Jim Maloney is at the controls, high above JRS, as it's known, a facility that opened in 1987 and named for the late owner of the Miami Dolphins, Joe Robbie.
They've had sellouts, but this is the first time the blackout's been lifted here since, what, December of '87,
right? Over 2 years since the home game was televised. First down from the 21-yard line. Schrader, and it's dropped by Willie Gault at the 26-yard line. Oliver with the coverage. The Dolphins have had year-to-year defensive improvement on a magnitude never seen before in the NFL. There it is. Last year, 356 yards per game. This year, 219. 38.5% improvement. And you go back to 1955 when the Redskins improved by about a third. And you can see the type of defense that Miami has exhibited under Tom Olivadotti this season. Bo Jackson drags Jarvis Williams for 4 out to the 25.
Well, it's kind of a tough start for Bo Jackson, though, when he's meeting a member of the secondary in the backfield. Jarvis Williams comes on the blitz off the corner, and Bo Jackson really has no chance at all. That's quite an effort by Mr. Vincent Jackson there to even get any positive yardage at all. I mean, look, Williams meets him well into the backfield. The awesome leg strength of Bo Jackson just drags Williams for a good 6 yards.
Bo back on the sidelines. Marcus Allen in the backfield. 3rd and 6, LA from the 25. Allen needs 6. Gets 8. First down up at the 33-yard line. Tackle made by Lifford Hobley. Bo back in.
Straight ahead blocking on the right side, and again the presence of Marcus Allen bringing it back to the inside, knowing what he needs for that first down.
Must be frustrating, though, for a guy like Marcus to make a run like that, something that he does with such regularity, and then trot over to the sidelines. I mean, this is a guy that, as Frank mentioned, even though he's 30 years old, I mean, it's just not his style to come out.
First down from the 33 and nearly picked off. A risky pass. Tim McKyer, the former 49er, on a pass intended from Irvin Fernandez.
And it was a free shot for McKyer. He had Lewis Oliver in the zone behind him, and he had an opportunity to get that into the end zone. He came close.
Well, I don't know what McKyer read here, but he either read Schrader or he read Fernandez, because he makes his break before the ball is even released. Tim McKyer must have spent some hours in front of the projector this week going over the tapes. He saw something and reacted.
2nd and 10 from the 33. Schrader guns one to midfield, and it's Willie Gault making the catch for a first down at the Miami 49-yard line.
That was a super effort on the part of Schrader. He's got a strong arm. One of the faults has been maybe not being able to take a lot off at this time. Schrader gets in trouble right about here and steps back into the pocket right about here. Good move by Gault. Freezes Offerdahl. And Schrader throws it in about the only area where he can get the completion.
9:15 left in the half. Raiders lead 3-0. First down at the 49. Bo Jackson behind a Smith block, and Bo is run out of bounds at the 42-yard line by J.B. Brown, who was a 12th round draft choice out of Maryland last year.
Jackson can turn that corner, and particularly going to his left.
Well, again, though, it's another effective lead block out front.
Steve Smith was out for a couple of plays. He had, we are told, a couple stitches put in over his right eye.
2nd and 3 at the 42. Raiders dominating on the ground, and that's a first down as Steve Smith carries for the first time tonight. They use him a lot, though, even though that's his first carry of the evening. Coming into the game, he was the second leading ground gainer for the Raiders, averaging 3.8 per carry.
Well, the guy weighs 240 pounds. You can see there the size of his lower legs. And in this Raiders scheme where they run out of that two-back set so often, that lead block is critical. And Steve Smith fills the bill. This is the kind of guy that, in many ways, more important than a Marcus Allen or a Bo Jackson. Without him, it doesn't happen.
First down at the 38. Schrader pump fake as he fakes toward Jackson and then goes deep down the left side for Gault, who can't make the catch at the 5. J.B. Brown with the coverage. Gault had gotten behind him, but the pass not there.
Took about 3 plays before the Raiders came back with a hook and go to both outside men. You saw McKyer make a quick move on a stop a short while ago, almost picking it off on Willie Gault. The Raiders come right back with a hook and go, and they almost get the big one.
With the trajectory of that ball being just a shade out of bounds, even if Willie was able to pull that ball in, I don't think he could have kept both feet in the field of play. That would have been an incomplete pass, even if he'd have caught it.
Total yardage 134-3, but it's only 3-0 on the scoreboard. 2nd and 10. Schrader to a wide open Tim Brown, and Brown seeking the first down and has it as he stretches to the 28-yard line. He's tackled by Offerdahl. 7:45 left in the half. Raiders on top 3-0 and dominating.
Another team had 3 Heisman Award winners. Here's Opperdahl. He was really much better against the run. They don't like to get him into deep coverage. You can see by looking. He kind of lumbers. He doesn't run back there. A couple of knee braces and a whole lot of shoulder pads, but he gets back into it. But Raiders with their 3 Heisman Award winners, Tim Brown you saw, Marcus Allen, and of course Bo Jackson.
From the 28, Jackson behind Smith, and Bo takes it to the 20-yard line for a gain of 8. Opperdahl makes the stop. The thoughts of Art Shell on Bo Jackson.
Right now, Bo's in pretty good shape. He keeps himself in pretty good condition. Right now, he's going through training camp, I guess you could say. But there doesn't seem to be any problem as far as health is concerned, as far as his conditioning is concerned. And we expect good things out of him the rest of the year.
And getting good things thus far tonight out of Jackson and Allen. 2nd and 2 from the 20. Bo again. Has the first down. He got to the 18-yard line, hit hard by Cliff Odom. But his forward progress, I believe, has netted him the first.
I think back again to last night in our talk with Art Shell when he said nothing complicated tomorrow night. I told my guys we're just going to run 5 or 6 running plays. We're going to keep it between the tackles. We're not going to use any complicated blocking schemes. We are going to take it straight at the Miami Dolphins. And gentlemen, they've been doing so thus far tonight with a lot of success.
He wasn't lying. This is the 12th play of the drive that started at the Raider 21. 3-0 LA, 5:40 to go in the half. On a reverse, here's Jackson to the 10-yard line. His speed got him to the outside, and he picks up 8.
I think I should win the timing award at the very least. I mean, that was a between the tackles reverse.
Yeah, but you know what you can do is when you're able to control the ball like they have on the ground, like you say, Dan, going straight at them, you begin to get that defense in tighter and tighter, and then you fake straight up the middle, and you give it the reverse, and you get this kind of action. Hey, when you can run the football, you can do almost anything you want on the field, particularly play action pass. You got a 2nd down and a waste down here. It's a good time to come with play action. When you run the football, you control the ball game.
2nd and 2. The Raiders have already rushed for 100 yards tonight. Allen picks up 2. That's 102 yards for the Raiders tonight. And this season, all season long, the Raiders, or the Dolphins defense, has allowed 100 yards on the ground only twice, to the Giants and to the Jets.
Yeah, an average of only 73 yards a game, Al. I mean, that's extraordinary too. And tonight already at this point they've given up over the century mark, and Tom Olivedade and Don Shula conferring. Don Shula, of course, at this point in time blames it all on the defensive coordinator.
That's where it really all counts. They've only given up an average of 10.7 points per game.
This will either be a 3rd and inches or a first down. It is the latter. 5 minutes to go in the half. 1st and goal. Reminder, college football coming your way this Saturday here on ABC. And we've got Michigan against Ohio State at 12 Eastern and 9 in the morning Pacific. And then a real beauty at a special time at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific from LA, Notre Dame and the Trojans of Southern California. 1st and goal from the 8. Allen tries to get to the outside, and Hugh Green says, not this time, pal. Crowd chanting, Hugh, Hugh, Hugh.
Boy, there's a situation where both of the Miami linebackers walked right up in what they call a snug position right on the line of scrimmage. And there is just a solid wall of backed up offensive linemen right there.
Ordinarily you don't do that, but I recall a Super Bowl of a few years ago where Allen popped in there, backed off, and took it, some 70 yards for a touchdown?
Against Washington following the 83 season. Last time the Raiders won a playoff game. 2nd and goal on a delay. Here's Allen, and he can't swing to the outside. He is tripped up by Opperdahl, and it will be 3rd and goal.
Okay, that's where Opperdahl works the best. Between the tackles, he is, of course, a multiple Pro Bowl player there. Surprising when he came up,
as a second-round draft pick in '86 and Pro Bowl his first year. Just reached out a big ham-like arm and tripped up Allen.
3rd and goal, 3:25 remaining in the half. 3-0 Raiders in a game totally dominated by the Raiders in every phase but on the scoreboard. The Raiders at the 10 on 3rd and goal is Schrader. Leaves Allen into block and fires incomplete, but there's a flag. Intended for Fernandez. Did McKyer hold him?
He locked up with him pretty good.
Well, they had a little switch pattern over in the right, a little bit of a pick, if you want to call it that. I don't know whether they're going to call pass interference or they're going to call the pick.
But actually, it looked like the two Dolphins ran into one another.
Holding, number 22 defense. 5 yards, automatic first down. 1st and goal.
Watch this. Watch the break to the inside. This is McKyer that gets called from the hold, and then the pattern to the outside. But watch, the two Dolphin defenders are actually the two guys that run in. There's Timmy Brown breaking to the outside.
The play is designed to have them run into each other, and that was absolutely perfect.
And Fernandez, you're right. I didn't touch anybody. You can't call a pick on me.
That's the 7th first down on this drive for the Raiders, who get a big break. 1st and goal from the 5, and Bo Jackson gets taken down after he reaches the 1. Cliff Odom, first to hit him. 2nd and goal. We have 2:53 remaining in the half. Fast half. Remember, the Dolphins have not given up. Their defense hasn't given up a touchdown in almost 3.5 games. And again, they've not given up a rushing touchdown since week 3. Otis Anderson.
Only team they lost to, 20-3 up at Giant Stadium.
The Raiders in the huddle here for a long time.
Play clock is down to 6. 2nd and goal, just inside the 2.
They're not going to get it off, Al.
And Schrader has to take another timeout, so they burn their 2nd. They have 1 remaining. We have 2:19 on the clock. First half, still 3-0. At the 2, started at the 21. The Raiders have had the ball for over 9 minutes. It is 2nd and goal with Steve Smith and Bo Jackson in the backfield. And Vance Mueller set on a wing to the right. Mueller in motion. Fake to Jackson. Schrader throws. It's tipped and incomplete. Intended for Ethan Horton, the tight end. Good coverage, though.
That's just a good, smart play on Schrader. He just threw that one away. Good coverage. Miami having to play for the run, still able to drop into good pass coverage.
All right, well, let me be devil's advocate here. You're jamming the ball down their throat all game so far. You get down to the 2-yard line, 2nd and goal at the 2, and you throw a play-action pass like that? I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
Has to be something that they have read in their looking at previous games with the Dolphins. They've been running it so well.
Looking for the ultimate element of surprise, I suppose. 3rd and goal, back to the basics, and Marcus Allen for the touchdown. On a delayed call, he's in there.
I mean, you are controlling the line of scrimmage. You've got a chance to really drive a nail into the Dolphins here. Why ease up? Why take the pressure off by going to something cute? You hurt him when you run it in like that, and you can see the look on Olivadate's and Shula's face. That hurt.
It's been 2 months since the Dolphins have given up a touchdown on the ground, and Marcus Allen, touchdown number 87, and he moves past Eric Dickerson, and that's the most for anybody currently active in the NFL.
Well, I'm going to read these names off. Graves, Wisniewski, Mosbar, Montoya, and Wright. They are controlling the tempo of this game. The offensive line of the Raiders.
And that former running back at tight end, Horton. Not bad running by the Trojan.
79-yard drive. 2:06 to go in the half. 10-0 Los Angeles. 2:06 left in the first half in Miami. 10-0 Raiders. Jeff Jager to kick off. Fielded at the 1 by Scott Schwady. He takes it out to the 23. And the Dolphins will begin their drive from that spot with 1:57 remaining in the half. The 2-minute warning. Fans tonight wondering why don't they use Allen and Jackson more. Marcus 59 yards on the ground, Bo 43.
Hart was rather explicit when he said last night we're going to go straight at him. We're going to run the football. I think they're running the football.
Well, it would be impressive the way the Raiders are running the ball tonight against anybody. But when you take into consideration the league's #1 defense, as we look at Larry Zonka and Paul Warfield and our own Bob Greasy, there's Pete Elliott, the executive director of Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and the Miami Dolphins tonight establishing a ring of honor here at the stadium.
That's Jim Langer, the offensive lineman, who also is a Hall of Famer, and their names will go up here at Robbie Stadium at halftime.
First down from the 23. Marino has to step up and then has it deflected by Jerry Robinson.
I guess the other thing that's happening at halftime here tonight is that Bob Greasy is going to be formally presented his Hall of Fame ring by Pete Elliott, and a sellout crowd here at Joe Robbie Stadium might have a little something to say about that. There is Elliott and Greasy together, and as you said, Jim Langer there in the back, but a proud moment for Bob. We saw him in Canton, be enshrined, and big night for him again here tonight.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Pressure. Jensen makes the catch over the middle, and Jensen bulls his way out to the 41-yard line. He's tackled by Mike Harden and Eddie Anderson, and Marino doesn't want to use a timeout here. The Dolphins have all 3 remaining.
Well, Jerry Robinson came close to picking up a personal foul there coming in late, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
If he'd have really hit him, I think he'd have drawn the flag.
On 1st and 10, Jensen again. Similar play, first down at the 43-yard line. Elvis Patterson makes the tackle. And the Dolphins use their first timeout.
And Jensen showing some dazzling open field moves.
Sort of. Timeout Miami. LA, and then they meet 2 weeks from tonight. Here, first down Miami at the 44-yard line. Marino goes deep for Duper, a juggling non-catch. He didn't have it. Lionel Washington helped to break it up.
What a great effort by Duper, and he almost came up with a sensational catch. Had it in his hand. He's being covered man for man. Lionel Washington is right there. Pulls it in. And let's give Washington the credit. It was a great defensive play. Duper had it pulled in.
Yeah, he did.
Washington stripped him. That's great defense. Bobbled it, and he knocks it away.
And that is extremely close to being a reception and then a fumble. I think it was a non-catch, but awful close.
2nd and 10. Open on the far side is Tony Martin for a first down to the 30. The clock down to a minute. The Dolphins have 2 timeouts remaining. Benson makes the tackle.
Oh, Tony Martin should have got that out of bounds. He had the first down. He tried to turn it into something major, and look at the seconds tick away.
First down from the 30. Marino fires to Troy Stratford at the 19-yard line. That's another first down, and Miami will spend its 2nd timeout. Dolphins have 1 left, and we have 41 seconds remaining in the half. Miami on the move. Remaining first half. The Raiders have dominated the half, but they lead only 10-0, and Miami is moving.
I guess it's the old saying, it's not how you start the half, it's how you finish the half.
We talked about Houston and the great year Warren Moon is having. We're going to take a close-up look at a rather exceptional, extraordinary individual, Warren Moon, at halftime. Hang around with us.
First down, Miami from the 19. They have 1 timeout left.
Is that bump and run or what? Look at that.
Yeah. And Marino gets hit as he throws, but gets it away, and a flag goes down. It's dropped. Aaron Wallace came flying in, decked Marino, and then Duper dropped the ball.
I think Gary Lewis grabbed Troy Stratford. He wasn't even in the play.
Holding, number 48, defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
That's Lionel Washington who gets flagged.
Well, I talked to you earlier about Lionel living on the edge. He'll get credited with that phenomenal coverage, that uptight stuff, but
There's Lewis. He stepped in, I think, and he said it was me.
Well, how about the Raiders that time? All 4 of their defenders up on the line of scrimmage playing bump and run. Here they are again.
Raider football. They love to challenge it.
First down from the 14-yard line. 4-man rush. Marino fires a great catch by Schweides for the touchdown.
Schweides just activated, got himself man for man. You saw the coverage, bump and run indeed, but it also puts you in a man for man. Torin Dorn trying to stay with Scott Schweides, who's only here because of injuries to 3 wide receivers of the Dolphins. Been around, however. He cut September the 1st of this year. Box number 81, top of your screen, number 36. Trying to provide the coverage. And beautifully thrown by Dan Marino.
Pete Stoyanovich for the point after. And as you put it, Frank, he's only here because of the injuries to Clayton and to Freddie Banks, the once and present Dolphin.
And there's Mark Clayton in the white hat congratulating Scott Schweides.
Again, Marino with just too much time. That was Terry McDaniel. I said it was Torin Dorn. I'll correct myself. Terry McDaniel in the man-for-man coverage. But you cannot give Marino that much time if you're going to try to play close-up coverage down close to the goal line.
Scott Schweides, his first touchdown this season, coming back from San Diego, and the second of his career.
Only 7 receptions all of last year, mostly IR with the knee injury.
That's the second touchdown on a reception for Schweides in his career. He also had 1 on a punt return in his prior stint with Miami, and the Dolphins pay off.
Well, right now, it's Art Shell and the Raiders that have to go into the locker room at halftime with what looks like will be a 10-7 lead unless they get some sort of a big return here, and really have to question themselves. How could we have dominated a half of football like that and come in here with nothing but 3-point lead to show for it?
2 huge plays by Jim Jensen, who was not even covered.
Dan Marino on that drive, 5 of 7 for 72 yards.
And I think the Raiders defensively must have known that they would have to look to Jim Jensen to have a big night with the injuries to the 3 wide receivers. And yet he was virtually uncovered, picked up 2 big plays to get the ball to midfield on that drive.
Jamie Holland last week, number 82, had an 87-yard return against Green Bay. He's back there with the sprinter Ron Brown. Stojanovich's kick taken by Brown, the gold medalist at the '84 Olympics.
Oh. There's a medal ceremony.
Yes, sir. Rick Graff came right in and hung one right around his neck. So the Raiders have it at the 21-yard line. They have only 1 timeout. 25 seconds remaining.
Ron Brown saying, I liked it better when he had to stay in his lane.
That's right.
You got disqualified for crossing that line. Not in this game, Ron.
That ball's out of baton. You can't hand it off. He covered it up well, though. He knew he was going to get the shock, and he covered it well.
Raiders will run the clock out. Schrader with a little kneel down and then a shoving match. We'll end this first half. Pretty fascinating half. Raiders dominate for the first 28 minutes. Dolphins get right back in the game with a typical Marino-like drive. And it's a 3-point disparity at the half. Halftime. Raiders 10, Dolphins 7. Halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station. Tonight, gorgeous temperature in the high 60s. It was a clear day.
And a great monument to the late Joe Robbie, who passed away this last January. Joe Robbie Stadium. He struggled for so many years to make this dream of his become the reality that it is.
And his son Tim has taken over. There it is. Joe Robbie memorialized here, and the stadium named for him. His son Tim, 35 years old, working in concert with Don Shula. And as Don said to us yesterday, the only thing he regrets is that Joe Robbie is not here to see what's happened to the Dolphins this season, the complete resurgence. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off. Raiders ahead 10-7. We start the second half in Miami. From the 8-yard line, Ron Brown, who got belted the last time he ran a kickback, takes it back out to the 28-yard line. And the tackle is made by Rick Graham. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. And by Ultravision, the ultimate in sight and sound, only from Hitachi. Art Shell watching his Raiders take over at the 28-yard line to begin the second half. Against the Miami defense, coming into the game ranked first in the league. Fewest yards allowed, fewest points allowed. Bo Jackson cannot turn the corner. He was tackled after Tim McKyer had come up from the corner to stop his momentum. Bo takes a 2-yard loss back to the 25, 2nd and 12.
And McKyer's made some good plays tonight. That was one of them that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. He came up, stretched it out, and allowed the pursuit to catch Bo. And there's a 2-yard loss. It's good cornerback play. And he's been making those kinds of plays all year long.
Schrader, very good protection, finds the open man. That's Willie Gault, first down, out at the 41-yard line, tackled by J.B. Brown. 16-yard.
Good read by Gault, too. Dolphins laying back into zone defense. He took it on what was going to be a fly pattern. Raiders like to take that ball deep. They're averaging over 15 yards a reception, but Gault read the zone, turned it into a hook, and Schrader was right on the target.
First and 10 at the 40. Early third quarter. Raiders up by 3. Jackson picks up 2. News of the day in the NFL, if you have not heard, Dexter Manley was reinstated by Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, but he was waived by the Redskins. That was not surprising. The Redskins don't want him. What happens next? Well, the team with the worst record, to wit New England at the moment, gets first crack at him off the waiver wire. If they don't choose him, then it would be a coin toss between Phoenix and Cleveland as to who would have the next choice. There has been a lot of speculation he could wind up with the Raiders or the Dolphins as Jackson takes it to the outside.
And he will not be activated until what, December the 9th. He can return to active play on the 9th.
I guess the process now to find out who gets Dexter Manley is that it'll actually be tomorrow that the Redskins will place him on waivers, and then there's a 24-hour waiver period, so it will be Wednesday until we know for sure who will have the services of Dexter Manley. And we are assuming that someone will claim him on waivers. Joe Bugle in Phoenix has certainly made some favorable comments. Today in the newspaper, Art Shell all but said we'd love to have him on the Raiders.
3rd and 3 from the 48-yard line. And Schrader, after pump faking, throws and has a first down to the 40-yard line to Ethan Horton. You know, Dan, there's another side to this story as well. There's a little hand-wringing going on from some people on the outside, including some people in Congress, about what sort of a message does the reinstatement of Manley send to kids.
Well, and you know, that's a legitimate concern. It's unfortunate, though, that it really is a system where it's spelled out ahead of time. It is a lifetime suspension, but it is subject to review after 1 year. And that was known going in, and Dexter Manley has cleaned up. Now, we'll follow it up after this story.
Bo Jackson breaks a tackle. There's a flag down, and Jackson with a gain of about 20 down to the 23-yard line, but let's see about the penalty.
And no matter what they do with it, that was one of the exceptional runs you're going to see.
Back it comes, though.
Following up on the Dexter Manley thing, a part of his reinstatement by the commissioner was that he has to be clean, he has to undergo drug testing, and he has to be in a supervised...
Number 88 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
He has to be in a supervised and a structured support program. And so, you know, you can look at it either way. You can say, well, here's a guy who screwed up his opportunity, doesn't deserve another chance, and should be banished for the rest of his life. The other side is we're a compassionate society. We are a society that likes to forgive and give someone another chance. The question that will be debated is how many chances do you give someone? I'm not willing and I'm not able to sit in judgment.
Well, I think you touched on it initially, Dan. It is the policy.
On 1st and 20, after the penalty was called on Ethan Horton for the hold, Marcus Allen with a great run after the catch, taking it to the 34-yard line. So he picks up 17 of those 20. It'll be 2nd and 3.
I think it's interesting, too, that the Redskins waived Dexter Manley, where, of course, he had spectacular years, but he was spectacular as a pass rusher primarily. He was not known to be strong all around defensively against the run. But if you're sitting there looking for somebody to put pressure on a passer, as a lot of teams are, then he basically is a specialist in that area.
Well, the Dolphins could use a little of that right now. Jay Schrader is having plenty of time to sit back in the pocket.
Shula over the years has shown that he will go out and give people second chances. He's done it many times.
2nd and 3. Bo Jackson picks up the first down as he takes it to the 30-yard line. A first down for the Raiders with 10:15 to play. Third quarter, 10-7 Los Angeles.
Of course, the Dolphins, with their 8-1 record, they're going to be way down that waiver wire.
Well, right now the Raiders picking up pretty much where they left off and their ability to go up and down the field. I don't know what Don Shula and his defensive coordinator Tom Olivadotti talked about at halftime, but I'm not sure that it's taking effect yet. The Raiders, a very impressive drive underway.
Smith and Jackson, the backfield tandem. Gold split left and Fernandez to the right. Schrader to put it up. Schrader going deep and out of bounds. Intended for Mervin Fernandez. It'll be 2nd and 10. The Raiders, it's a funny thing because they talk about the old Raider style. Well, the old Raider style is to run the ball as they're doing it tonight, pound it, and also to go deep. The Raiders typically this season are last in the league in completed passes, but first in the league in yards per completion. It tells you one thing: they love to go deep.
They always have. Stabler, Branch, Al Davis likes it. As long as he's around, they're going to do it.
2nd and 10. Catch is made by Brown, and he's tackled immediately by McKyer after a 5-yard gain. They will spot the ball at the 25, and it will be 3rd down, and let's call it 4.
You know, to take that a step farther, in an era where on many teams a running back is their leading receiver, I don't think we're going to see that happening in the Raiders anytime in the near future. You look at Steve Smith had 2 catches coming into tonight's game. Marcus Allen had only 9. Bo Jackson had 2. I mean,
there were years where Allen was up in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen under Art Shell.
Fernandez has 36. Galt has 28. The 2 wide men averaging over 16, 17 yards per catch.
On 3rd and 4. Schrader. And it's incomplete. Willie Galt doing his best to try to get a penalty called on J.B. Brown, but the officials not biting. Good coverage.
Sensational coverage by J.B. Brown.
There's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
That's your basic holding flag, I do believe.
Holding, number 72 offense. Penalty decline, 4th down.
Don Mosbar, the center.
J.B. Brown, the man locked up with Willie Galt and just with him stride for stride. And it's a good job by Galt of acting like he got shoved and go ahead and fall to the ground. He had no chance to get to the ball. Maybe 1 in a 20 chance he'll draw a bad flag.
Yeah, that was good coverage by Brown. He made Galt take that so wide and around he couldn't get to the ball.
Jeff Jager, a 43-yard attempt. Gossett puts it down, and the kick is perfect. So he's made a 23-yarder and a 43-yarder. And with 8:39 to play in the third quarter, the Raiders expand their margin to 6. 13-7, Los Angeles. 9 left, third quarter. Raiders on top, 13-7. Jeff Jagers to put it in the air. Comes down into the arms of Mark Higgs. And Higgs from the 6 brings it back to the 28-yard line. Miami ball at the 28, Joe Robbie Stadium. The site, 8:28 left, third quarter. Raiders have outgained the Dolphins by a margin of about 3-1, 113-3 on the ground, and yet there's only a 6-point difference on the board. 13-7, LA.
And they'll also tell you what Dan Marino can do with just a very few plays.
And that one drive at the end of the half to get him right back in it, 77 yards. From the 28, there's a whistle that stops the play before it begins.
I think they're going to get after the Dolphins here.
Number 62 offense. 5 yards, still first down.
Harry Galbraith, the right guard, got a big head start as he fired off the line a good half-second early.
The Dolphin offensive line with the 2 rookies, a second-year man, third-year man, fourth-year man. Time of possession, they haven't had the ball much, have the Dolphins. 26-29 for the Raiders, and the Dolphins have had it just a couple of ticks over 10 minutes with 8:27 to go in the third quarter. On 1st and 15, Marino from the shotgun throws underneath to Jensen. He makes the catch and stretches forward to the 31-yard line. Robinson makes the stop.
Jensen getting a big play tonight. We talked earlier about Tony Page, actually the leading receiver for the Dolphins, with a bad knee, did not suit up tonight. He works out of the backfield as a fullback, of course, and his not being there has changed things around rather dramatically for the Dolphins. They can't really use the running game that they used so successfully early in the season. Good blocker.
2nd and 7 for Miami. As Marino throws, and it's Duper who goes to his knees to make the catch for a first down at the 41-yard line.
And Dolphins will not go into a huddle.
That's a smart move. I mean, I think they're looking back to how effectively they moved the ball there at the end of the first half using a no-huddle offense. I think it's an excellent play by Miami to get right to the line of scrimmage. They've got the Raiders a little off balance. Keep them that way. Looks like we're going to have a review, but it certainly looked like a good catch by Duper.
The play is being reviewed.
And that's a good job by Gordon McCarter explaining why things have stopped a little bit.
And Dan Marino's incensed. He felt convinced that it was a good catch.
Chuck Heberling is the replay official tonight. It's his first action of the evening.
Sure. That was a great effort by Duper. His hands were between the ball and the surface.
Sure looks.
Yep.
He stands as rolled. First down.
Okay. Now, if they did have a replay like that, you'd love it.
Yep. That's just the way it should work. That's Duper's first catch tonight. First down from the 42-yard line. Marino fires. The catch is made at the 45, and it's Troy Stratford to the 42-yard line. First down on a Marino bullet.
If you're a quarterback, and most quarterbacks, 99.9% of them looking at that, wishing they had that release. That was great coverage on Stratford, and he just zipped that in.
And Marino threw that in the face of a blitz from Ricky Ellison, who decked him at the 43-yard line. Marino throws low to the 34. Robinson says no catch, and the officials concur. Tony Martin, the intended receiver. And a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. 7:06 remaining. We're in the third quarter.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
Need at least 7.
You need at least 7, and here's the mistake. Look at these 2 guys right here. One of them has to be up here on the line of scrimmage. You can see both of them are back off the line. That only leaves you 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. One of those outside receivers had to walk up and cover that tackle.
Penalty is declined since the pass was incomplete, and it's 2nd and 10.
If we talked about the scramble that the Dolphins are in with Banks out, Clayton out on the IR, Andre Brown another wide receiver, and they're using people in different formations they ordinarily would not be using, and that perhaps is causing some of the problem.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Stratford goes nowhere, and it will be 3rd and 10. Townsend in on the tackle. Dan Marino, just one completion of 40 or more yards in 10 games in 1990, and that is, I don't have to tell you, very unusual.
Well, he doesn't have to win games 41-38 anymore, and that's what it's been. Dolphins have had one winning season since 1985, and Marino has been the Dolphins.
Best to take the helmet off before the guy does that. Always best to remove the hat before that happens.
Third and 10. Marino on a roll, throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Scott Schwades. And it will be 4th down. The coverage by Terry McDaniel. Got a hand on it. And it's 4th down at the 43, and Roby comes in to punt. So the Miami drive, which started off very favorably for the Dolphins.
See that wristwatch on his left hand? He uses that watch on the sideline when the other punter is punting. There it is. He times the hang time of the other punter, and he also times how long it takes him to get it off.
Shouldn't be allowed to wear a watch in a football game.
Well, Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, said it keeps them in the game. He said they're so isolated anyway. This gives him something to do.
Doesn't look good.
Just like children, keep them busy, huh?
Yeah, doesn't look right.
It's kind of cheap too.
The Detroit Pistons are in town to play the Miami Heat tomorrow, and some of the guys, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Bill Laimbeer are out here with their Raider jerseys.
Laimbeer would make a heck of a tight end, wouldn't he?
From the 11-yard line, the Raiders begin this drive as Marcus Allen picks up 3, takes it to the 14, 2nd and 7.
I think Laimbeer might be more suited for linebacker or defensive end. He's got the temperament, I think, for a defensive player more than a
forearms to go with it.
Yeah. There's the big man on the right.
Might draw a flag or two.
You can see already a puffy left eye. You can tell the NBA season's underway for Big Bill. I guess it's fitting that the bad boys from the Motor City align themselves with the black and silver.
Natural gravitation. 2nd and 7 from the 14. Bo Jackson takes off, and Bo Jackson with his longest run of the season.
Oh, this will be
to the
trouble.
39-yard line, and a late hit, but no flag, and then a little skirmish. Jarvis Williams was the guy who runs him out of bounds.
Well, yeah, Bo, you see what happened there. Bo thought that he went out of bounds well before that, but I don't know that there's any way that Jarvis Williams is able to tell that he went out of bounds.
And Jarvis Williams, if it was all spun around, you couldn't expect him not to finish it off, which is, there's Williams.
Let's watch for did Jarvis get his hand on the face mask? Yeah, he sure does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's what Bo's hot about. You can't blame him for that.
And don't do that in front of the Raider bench.
Well, boy, this is the first time he missed, but here it comes again. Oh, you can see the official was screened. He was looking where he went out of bounds rather than following the play, which he should have done.
Here's Marcus Allen after Jackson gains 26. Allen picks up 15 and a first down to the 45 of Miami. Offerdahl makes the tackle.
Miami #1 defensively in the league. They were 2nd coming into tonight against the rush, and the Raiders are making shambles of that.
4:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Raiders on top, 13-7. Bo Jackson. Tonight, 78. That's a great race going on right now. Jackson and Allen.
Right now, to this point, it's the Miami pounded machine.
Yes.
They're getting it put to him pretty good on the ground.
They are the poundees this evening at the 45-yard line. Hernandez drops the ball. Would have been a 6-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 10. Swervin' Mervin.
We talked about the great defense of the Dolphins, but again, we go back to the teams that the Dolphins have played. Their victories, 6 of them coming against 2 against the Jets, and they had 1 against Indianapolis, 1 against Phoenix, and then also 2 against New England.
Dolphins coming in, as you saw, the only team in every game holding the opposition to 4 yards or less per carry. 4 yards is the average gain in the league, and 4.8 is the average tonight, and that's just about what Bo Jackson picks up here, about 4.8 yards on 2nd and 10.
Looks closer to 4.6 to me.
4.75.
Yeah, that's strong running too. When you see the pile close in on the running back, then you see the pile surge with Jackson, you know he's putting everything into it. He is strong.
It is 3rd down, and let's call it 5.5 from a 40-yard line.
Hey, you take one Heisman Award winner out, and you bring in another one.
3rd, call it 6 from the 40. 3:10 to go, 3rd quarter. Raiders up by 6. They pick up the blitz, and Schrader then has the man underneath Fernandez, but he drops it again. Pass a little low, but certainly catchable. Oliver covering, and the Raiders are forced to kick. And it's Oliver who is late in getting up.
Schrader really had a little more time than he thought he had, and then Fernandez, of course, reading the blitz with him, didn't give him much of a chance over the middle.
Yeah, but that was really just a poor throw by Jay, way behind Swervin Mervin, who had very little chance. Jay Schrader, by the way, asked us to say hi to his 6-year-old son, Brian, who's celebrating his 6th birthday at home tonight.
Is it Brian Jay?
Yeah, and Jay's name is Jay Bryant.
Here's Jeff Gossett's first kick. He angles it, but doesn't get it into the coffin corner. It's a touchback and comes back to the 20. So that's only a 23-yard net for the Raiders. Miami has it at the 20. 2:50 to go, 3rd quarter. Akron hovering above Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Fast game, 2:50 to go, 3rd quarter, 13-7, Los Angeles.
Well, there's spectacular weather over the past few days here in Miami, and they anticipate more of it.
There's a guy whose name we haven't called a lot tonight, the great one, Howie Long.
In fact, not once.
Yeah, the much injured one the last couple of years has really battled his way back, is all the way back now. Had a good game last week in that Raider loss, and yet not a factor here this evening. Yet.
Marino comes up in the gun on 1st down from the 20 and begins on the ground with a handoff to Jim Jensen. Picks up a yard, and naturally, the minute you say it, who makes his first tackle of the night?
Well, it's tough to shut this guy out for a long time. What a body this guy has. When you see Howie Long come out, one of the fine athletes in the National Football League, from the soles of his feet to the top of his head, he is just a superbly conditioned athlete. He looks like he's about 5'11" when you see him, and then you go up and talk to him and realize that he's every bit of 6'5".
2nd and 8, Miami from the 22. Marino checking off at the line, and there's the play clock down to 4 at the snap. And Marino with a little touch pass that is incomplete, intended for Duper. He looks for the flag.
I think we're going to get a tripping call.
Well, McDaniel was covering, and we are going to get a tripping call.
Yeah, and it was Howie Long, I think, that got tripped. Well, you can see that thing easily. I think it was Harry Galbraith, the right guard again. Watch him go down. Howie gets by him. Now watch this. Wham! Right on the knees. There's the umpire.
Number 62 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Yeah, and you're really good tonight. Every time you mention a player, we have him in the next play.
Yep. It's been a tough night for Harry. Remember, he got called for a hold on the first play of the game, and then got a false start, and now a tripping penalty. And those are the kind of mistakes a talented player like Howie Long will force you into.
Trips left, 2nd and 18 from the 12-yard line.
Those trips last play.
Yeah, right. And Marino trying to set up the screen for Stratford. Ill-conceived to begin with, and Stratford started to stumble anyway. And naturally, it was Howie Long who didn't get a call all night to put the pressure on. And a hold against the Raiders, and that's a huge one because it goes from second and long to first down.
Holding, number 36 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Big penalty. Instead of 3rd and 18, 1st and 10. Terry McDaniel.
McDaniel was way away from the actual play. And that was a big penalty. Dolphins backed way up, and with the penalty goes the first down.
Raiders up 13-7, 1:55 to go, third quarter. From the gun, 4-man rush. Marino fires over the middle to Jensen. Jensen has a first down to the Miami 30-yard line. Anderson in on the tackle.
And wisely, the Dolphins again eschew the huddle and go right to the line of scrimmage.
First and 10 from the 29. Great protection from Marino, but then the pass is overthrown, intended for Jensen, who was covered well by Ricky Ellison. 2nd and 10.
Jensen originally came into the league, of course, as a much-told story as a quarterback. Hung around as a backup quarterback and decided about the only way he was going to play would be to get on the special teams. He did that. Eventually worked into where he was playing a receiver. Now he's a valuable man to have around because he can be an emergency quarterback. He can be a running back. He can be a tight end for you. He can be the kind of man that they're using him tonight when they're so short on wide receivers.
2nd and 10, a toss to Stratford. And Anderson comes up to hit him at the 32-yard line. And it will set up a 3rd and 7.
Greg Townsend again in on that play. What game he's playing tonight, number 93, the defensive end. He leads the Raiders in sacks at 9.5 and has really been playing the run game so well. He's been in on a lot of tackles this evening. Look at him there, the left of your screen. Plays off the block of Edmonds at tight end. Jensen stacks him up, fights through, gets in a little bit late, but did get up and around.
3rd and 7 from the 32. Final minute, third quarter. Raiders up by 6. Play clock down to 1 as Marino gets it off. Marino goes for Duper, who makes a great catch to the 28-yard line. He came back to get it.
How many times have we seen that? The ball underthrown a little bit, and Lionel Washington sprinting with Duper. Duper got behind him earlier in the game, you might recall, and this time Duper was able to go up and take the short ball and come down with a completion.
And watch Lionel Washington try to spike Duper at the end of the play when he falls down. Watch, Lionel goes to the ground and intentionally comes up and spikes Mark Duper. That's a play that if the official would have seen it, he should have thrown the flag.
Duper with a great effort.
This is intentional by Washington coming up, and Mark Duper perilously close to an uncomfortable situation.
That's the end of the third quarter.
Tomorrow,
I'm going back in.
they're having a reunion.
It's 30 years later, and right on schedule. The killings start up again.
Because it's back.
None of us is going to get out of here.
The conclusion of Stephen King's It tomorrow.
Wednesday, Paul Hogan is in the Big Apple.
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Crocodile Dundee, Wednesday.
How do young people manage when their parents split up? Tonight at 10, we'll see how and get some advice from a counselor on how families can manage divorce.
Find your recliner at Self-Service Furniture because they have the largest selection in the West, all on sale now. And after they've delivered your new recliner, if you aren't completely happy with it inside of 14 days, don't bring it back. Call Self-Service Furniture. They'll pick it up. If it isn't damaged, they'll refund your money with a smile. Chairs that lean over backwards to make you comfortable. From a store that bends over backwards to make you happy. We have a reputation for the lowest furniture prices in the West. We defend it every day. Self-Service Furniture.
When a Medicare supplement program becomes important to you, choose the right plan from Blue Shield of Idaho Medical Service Bureau. Choose Supplement to Medicare, Senior Care, or Blue Shield of Idaho's new Major Medicare program with prescription drug coverage. Your own prescription drug card, too. For complete information, see your local insurance agent or call this toll-free Idaho number. Blue Shield of Idaho Medical Service Bureau. We care more for Idaho people.
Cheers tonight at 10:30 on KIVI Channel 6.
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. Back we come to Miami. We start the fourth quarter. Raiders up by 6, but Miami begins the quarter at the Raider 28, 1st and 10, after the 40-yard completion to Duper. And Sammy Smith, who's been pretty silent tonight, remains so. Loses 2. Scott Davis pushes him back to the 30. Here's a reminder, tomorrow night, don't miss the conclusion of the world premiere miniseries based on Stephen King's biggest bestseller. John Ritter, Richard Thomas, Harry Anderson and the gang star in it, and then the Skins Game. ABC Sports presenting the Skins Game with Jack Nicklaus, Greg Norman, Nick Faldo, and Curtis Strange. Big bucks at stake. This Saturday, you'll see it live at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific.
Frank, you and I were going to be entered in that, but it would have been totally unfair.
It is dramatic, though. You can get some big bucks and strange things happen.
2nd and 12. Marino stepping up, and he doesn't do this often, but he does it very effectively here, and it nets a first down at the 15-yard line. They'll spot it at the 17, where he began the slide.
What's his average per carry over the years?
Over the years, it's measured in inches. There it is. It's measured in negative inches.
Well, he just padded the average with that burst.
Just erased it. They really had nowhere to go. I mean, the good coverage back there, and he pulls it down, and he was shocked to see nothing but grass in front of him. He knew exactly where he had to be to get the first down, however.
First down at the 17-yard line. 13:30 to play. Marino throws, and that's incomplete at the 11-yard line. Double coverage on Jim Jensen as Ellison was there, helped out by Alex Gordon. 2nd and 10. Let's take a look at the numbers through the first 45 minutes of play. Still a big advantage for the Raiders in every area except passing yardage.
Almost a 2-to-1 advantage for the Raiders in the time of possession.
And a well-played game, nary a turnover. Second and 10 at the 17-yard line.
Marino changing it off.
And the play clock down to 3. He gets it off at 2. Protected well, fires to the 2-yard line. It's caught by Ferrell Edmonds, the big tight end. Makes his first reception of the night at a most opportune point.
And what spectacular is the only word I can apply to that throw, right between 2 defenders. And the big tight end, Frank, watch this throw. Benson on the backside, and here comes the safety in on the other side. I mean, spectacular.
Coupled with the change off of the line of scrimmage, looking up, and with about 1 second, the ball was snapped, and very calmly and coolly drilled it into Edmonds.
Mike Harden, the safety, looked like he was lost on that play. He didn't even get a hit on Edmonds. Here comes another audible by Marino.
First and goal at the 3, and again the play clock right down to 2, and on a sweep, it's Sammy Smith losing 5. Mike Harden, the safety, comes up to break the play up. Raiders have been sensational in these types of situations. Here it is graphically. When the opponent has a first and goal, the Raiders have given up a touchdown only 23% of the time. As you can see, the league average, 68%. They have really been tough down deep.
Boy, if the Dolphins audible to that play, I'd hate to see the play they had called before that. It must have been a real stinker.
2nd and goal from the 8 after Smith loses 5. 4 wide receivers. Marino throws, caught by Duper at the 5, and he's to the 4 before he's pushed back by Harden and Washington. And Washington has a couple of words with Keith Sims, the rookie.
Poor choice of opponents there, Lionel.
Yes.
Lionel, who struggles to stay at 185, straps on Keith Sims at 305. Mark Duper just trying to eke out a couple more inches. Ends up being a piece of pasta for these guys. Been around.
Turns them into a Thanksgiving wishbone.
Trades replaces Edmonds. We'll have the 4 wide receivers. The Dolphins like their crossing patterns down here. We saw it earlier. They like to use the pick play.
3rd and goal, and there's the play clock down to 0.
They didn't get it.
This play does not count. Does not count. There's a delay of game. No play. No touchdown.
No. Marino saying that I got it off. He was looking right at the clock, and he is really exercised.
And Gordon McCarter is not happy with Dan Marino.
Well, they have been flirting with this on almost every play on this drive.
Delay of game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down. Hey!
On the 40-yard pass to Duper, they were down to the last half second. You saw the clock go to 0.
All right, now's the time Marino needs to collect himself. I mean, that play is over, Dan. Take a couple of deep breaths. Being hot under the collar right here isn't going to serve you or your team at all.
Because it changes what he can do here. We talked earlier about the Dolphins liking to use the crossing pattern when they get down close.
It is 3rd and goal, and again he's flirting with that play clock. It's down to 5, and he had to collect himself, as Dan said, and to do so, it cost him a timeout.
Well, he walked up there, and he wanted the time to change the play at the line of scrimmage as he looked at the defense. The defense wasn't even deployed, so consequently he did not have the time.
3rd and goal when we come back.
If I could afford a sports sedan, the road would belong to me. Bob, I'd have one of those multi-valve engines, independent suspension, and of course, a spoiler on the back. Yeah, if I could afford a sports sedan, life would be a cruise.
Oh, it's you, Bob.
Introducing the new Nissan Sentra SCR, because rich guys shouldn't have all the fun.
Basketball practice at 4 o'clock. I better get coming.
Bob's bringing his boss home for dinner. I'd better make something special.
Is it possible? We've had that refrigerator since '84.
Hey, listen to this. Car expenses took 10% of the budget last month.
Yeah, Mom, I finished with my homework.
Yay! You're good at this game.
Finally, a computer so easy to use it guarantees success. The Tandy 1000 RL with 24 built-in home organizing solutions, now on sale. Only at Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping.
There's a new attitude at Northwest Airlines, a new dedication to service. You can see it in our on-time performance, the best of the top 7 U.S. airlines. That's our commitment, to make sure you're on time for your commitments.
This Thanksgiving, he's in town with a few days to kill. Predator 2, rated R. Starts Wednesday at theaters everywhere.
Marino was mad. He didn't have a right to be. There's the clock. Watch the ball move after the clock goes to 0-0. There's 0-0. There's the movement of the ball. The back judge threw the flag incorrectly.
It cost him 5. The ball is at the 9. It is 3rd down and goal. The 13th play of this drive coming up.
See, this is what Marino wanted to do a moment ago. Look at the defense deployed. See where he's going to get the man-for-man coverage. He'll call the play, and that's where he'll go.
Trips right and Duper left, and he looks to the right, and he fires, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Tony Martin. So it's 4th down, and in comes the field goal unit to try to shave the lead to 3.
We talked about the Raiders. Their defense inside the 5-yard line. Inside the 20, they're very good. And once again, with a little bit of an assist from Dan Marino, they are going to be able to keep the Dolphins to at least 3.
And again, as we pointed out, the league average, when a team is 1st and goal, they will score about 2 times per 3 attempts. And the Raiders have allowed the opposition to get in less than 1 time per 4 attempts. This is a 27-yard field goal attempt for Stoyanovich. And he boots it through. He's been perfect, Pete, except for a 53-yard miss last week at the Meadowlands in a swirling wind. It's 13-10.
Panasonic presents a new breed of smooth operator. The new Smooth Operator rechargeable razor unites the old-fashioned closeness of a warm, wet shave with the convenience and no-nit comfort of an electric. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
If I owned a car company, first I'd snag the biggest office. Then build myself a sports sedan. I'd make the body aerodynamic. Like even the door handles would be cool. Then I'd give it a 16-valve engine. And just to cheese off the other car companies, I'd make my sports sedan affordable. Because I'm tired of the rich guys having all the fun.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Sentra, the first affordable sports sedan.
Come on, guys!
Why is the Polar Bear Club having so much fun this winter?
There's no crowds! The water's perfect!
And what's got them really excited is Pepsi's Winter Cool Collection. 6 great designs that celebrate what some people consider the best time of year.
So come on out! And you'll never need a cooler.
Get them now, because they'll be gone with the snow.
I love it!
A tough defense and Jim Kelly's arm have Buffalo hoping for a division crown. But the Houston Oilers have playoff hopes of their own. They meet next week on ABC Sports.
Fourth quarter, 10 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. 13-10 Raiders. The Dolphins, who bogged it down with a 1st and goal and had to settle for 3 to kick off. Pete Stoyanovich to boot it in the direction of Jamie Holland and Ron Brown. Brown closest to us, or to the left of your screen. Brown downing it in the end zone. Raiders take over at the 20. Here's the Dolphin drive, which bogged down, as we say, inside the 5-yard line, but they had the ball for almost half the quarter. 72 yards, or what would amount to half of a quarter. The third into the fourth, 7:20. By the way, Jay Schrader, that's an interesting thing because he's come under some heat in the last couple of weeks in L.A. Best record as a starter among active QBs, only Montana and McMahon. A better percentage than Schrader. That, of course, includes his starts as a Redskin, but he's won 2 of every 3 starts in his career, and he leads by 3 tonight. Here's Bo for a gain of 9 to the 29-yard line. Tackled by Odom and Oliver. One man conglomerate right there, Bo Jackson. Royals, Raiders, commercials, and my literary sources tell me his newest book, Bo Knows Bo, in collaboration with Dick Schaap, is going to be number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list next week. What about Bo, though? Talking about stats, we saw Schrader winning 2 out of every 3. There are the Raiders with and without Bo. 1 game under without him, 3 games under with him.
Far and away his best game thus far this year tonight. He's been instrumental in such a big part of the Raiders' ground game.
Marcus Allen seeks the first down and gets it. Short little gain, but enough to take it across the 30. Odom makes the tackle. First down, L.A.
Picks us up a pretty combination when you can take Bo out and bring Marcus in. And Dan already talked about the offensive line of the Raiders, and they have controlled time of possession of the game. But again, Dan Marino with the arm has been bringing the Dolphins back.
First down at the 31. 9 minutes to play. Allen, the tailback. Marcus with the ball, and it's a nice play coming in to break it up before it gets started. Sean Lee picked up at the start of the season after Tampa Bay and Atlanta couldn't find room for him.
Sean, give us a break.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't made a tackle in 3 quarters and then runs up 10 yards upfield and does a little display. He's up, guy.
And that's not the kind of action Don Shula likes to see. You know.
No.
2nd and 11. Schrader for Allen, and Marcus drops the ball at the 21. Lost his footing. Marcus doing a lot on that play. Stayed in to help out on the block, then became a receiver, but can't hold it, and it's 3rd and 11.
Looked like he did stay in to block Allen. He makes a hit right here, right on David Griggs, and it costs him his footing, and he stumbles backwards. And boy, that's a real break for the Dolphins, because Marcus Allen didn't have a Miami defender within 15 yards of him upfield.
Dolphins are laying way back in a deep zone umbrella type, covering both outside receivers with 2 men.
Boy, they're on their feet here, Joe Robbie.
On 3rd and 11. Schrader throws underneath to Brown, but well short of the first down. Brown hit at the 35-yard line. Tim McIver and Jarvis Williams converge on the stop, and the Raiders will kick.
Olivedotti's crew, which has been pushed around a lot here this evening, makes a stand when they needed to. Here's a guy that when he first got here in Miami received more than his fair share of criticism for the way the defensive team played, and he must sleep a lot easier here in 1990.
Funny thing, though, they've been pushed around, as you say, clearly tonight, but on the scoreboard, only 13 points for the Raiders. Here's Gossett to kick. You saw Schwades dropping back to take the kick. And that one is out of bounds at about the 30. Not much distance on the Gossett kick. 34 yards to be precise. Raiders up by 3.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime. And we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
When does a good quarterback make a great receiver? When someone who's been drinking passes him their car keys. Nice pass. If you've been drinking, pass your car keys to someone who hasn't.
Know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
America's 3 favorite bachelors are back.
Oh!
And they're having the time of their lives.
Kiss me!
Trying to stay single.
I'm impotent. Oh, I find that so charming in a man.
3 men and a little lady.
Oh, shut up and take me!
Rated PG. Starts Wednesday.
Sometimes I dream I'm in Italy, driving this incredible sports car. And my boss is there. He says,
"We need a ride to the shareholders meeting."
Now, here's where it gets weird. The sports car has 4 doors. I mean, there's no such thing as a 4-door sports car. It's just a dream, right?
Social note, our longtime cameraman, the great Tommy O'Connell, and his wife Nancy, proud parents today of Kathleen Ann O'Connell.
I've got one that likes younger women.
Yeah.
That's a nice Irish name, Kathleen O'Connell.
Congratulations, Tommy.
Way to go, Tommy and Nancy. First down, Miami from the 30-yard line. They trail by 3. 7:13 left. Troy Stratford cannot get outside. He's hit first by Gary Lewis and then finished off by Lionel Washington. Gary Lewis, the rookie out of Alcorn State. Good-looking cornerback. How about the QB comparison tonight? Marino and Schrader. Their numbers head-to-head on the evening. 10 out of 19 for Jay, 116 yards, and Marino with 191 yards through the air, completing 64% of his passes.
They just put 8 men up at the line. They love to blitz on 2nd and long yardage.
2nd and 14. Jensen He is stopped at the 37-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd and 3. Robinson was there. 3rd and 3 at the 37. Pretty important play here with 6 minutes to go, because if the Raiders get the ball back the way they've been running it tonight, they can take some time off the clock.
It's almost like their goal line offense. They come with the 4 wide receivers, and you'll probably see some kind of crossing pattern with the outside men.
A play of some significance here on 3rd and 3, and it is caught, but does he have the first down? Stratford very, very close.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it by the way the chains are situated. It looks like the chains are beyond the 40. Looks like the ball would have had to cross the 40 to get a first down.
It does. He appears to be short by inches. They're going to measure.
You can see Gordon McCarter signaling to bring in the chains.
Well, I think Shula's already made the decision. He has both the tight ends in. Maddie comes in.
Clock stopped with 5:28 remaining. Nose of the ball on the 40.
Yeah, that's
shy by inches. Dolphins this year on 4th down are 5 of 6. And they will go for it.
The man that they have had in blocking for Sammy Smith on most of their short yardage plays is Tony Page, and of course he is not suited up tonight, out with a bad knee. So that could change some of the thinking as to what they like to do in short yardage.
And they have Garrett Limbrick in there to block. He is the fullback in this set.
The Raiders in with 5 defensive linemen.
Smith has it. Anderson comes up to make the hit, but Sammy needed inches and picked up a yard.
Interesting, Dan. They ran over the kids.
Yeah, they sure did. They went to the left side behind Sims and Richmond Webb. Highly unusual, the 2 rookies. Highly unusual in this day and age that a rookie can start in the offensive line, much less 2 rookies. You see Sims pulling to the outside, and boy, look at that nice block he puts on Mike Harden to take him out of the play. And then Richmond Webb, all 300 pounds, the #1 draft choice, takes his guy off the line. A lot of confidence by Don Shula and John Sandusky, their offensive line coach.
4:35 to go. Marino going for Duper. Can't make the catch. Got behind Lionel Washington, let him a bit too much, and it will be 2nd and 10.
Well, he's behind Lionel Washington, but only by about 6 inches. Washington's positioning didn't give Dan Marino any room for error, and he's forced to lead Duper too far. That's really quite good single coverage by Lionel Washington. He forces Dan to drop that thing in there. That's nice work by Lionel.
It tells you the faith that they have in Washington being able to cover man for man on someone like Duper. They leave him out there. They left him out there all night long with Duper.
Busy night for number 48. He's been at the apex of this thing all evening.
2nd and 10 from the 41-yard line. Marino throws to Jensen. He takes it out to the 46, and again the Dolphins face a critical 3rd down play here. That's 7 catches tonight for the versatile Jensen. 4:15 remaining. Raiders leading 13-10.
Yeah, how much they've relied on Jensen tonight with the loss of the 3 wide receivers. Clayton Banks and, of course, Aaron Brown already on the injured reserve. He only had 20 receptions coming into tonight in the previous 9 games. He has been the man tonight.
3rd and 5. Marino nearly goes down and then underthrows at the 43-yard line. It was Aaron Wallace, the rookie out of Texas A&M, who forced the issue and nearly had the sack. And now you've got another 4th down play.
I think Don, again, has already made the decision. He called Marino over and basically said, we're going to go for it.
You know, the tough thing there, Aaron Wallace is working against one of his best friends, Richmond Webb. These guys grew up together, went to college together. Webb gives him the soft corner, and Wallace just not able to hold on.
Those two guys have known each other since they were 8 years old.
Well, right there, Richmond Webb, I think, took it a little bit easy on his friend and almost paid a big price for it.
4th and 5, 3:42 remaining.
They're locked up again, 51 and 78.
And the play clock was down to 2, and Miami has to take another timeout. That's their second. They have only 1 left.
And that could hurt, and really uncharacteristic of a veteran coach and a veteran quarterback. That could hurt the Dolphins.
Hey, Jenny, come show your granddad how to set this VCR thing.
Okay. Input the TV channel to match the station you want to record. Press store.
There are some things you just can't explain with a lot of fancy talk.
Cursor until the required day is displayed. Got it? Program in the desired on.
At the Prudential, our agents believe your life insurance policy is one of them. So when it comes to your piece of the rock, we won't let you get it until you've got it.
4th down and 5, and after that timeout now, Miami with just 1 timeout remaining, plus 1 at the 2-minute warning. This is a vital play. They have to get to the Raider 49-yard line. I think they've changed their mind. They're going to punt.
Yeah, but look at this now. Look at what the absence of having 3 timeouts does to them now.
That's exactly right. Instead of going for it, now they had to rethink the whole strategy.
Well, I think punting here is the right play anyway, but they only have 1 timeout to stop the clock with.
And 1 at the 2-minute warning, and there's no punt here because there was a whistle that stopped that play.
I think we have another delay of game.
We do.
I don't think they got it off again. Oh, this is sloppy football at its best here by the Dolphins.
And not terribly characteristic of this man. No.
For years, almost annually, you can count on the Dolphins being the least penalized team in the National Football League, which of course is a byproduct of excellent coaching.
Offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
And coming into this game, they were the least penalized team in the league. And boy, they are doing their best to put that number away.
You know, in the sidelines, the Raiders sidelines, the offensive unit is together saying, look, let's go out there and run this football, run the clock out. We can control it. Roby's kick, Brown, fair catch at the 24. The clock is down to 3:34. The Dolphins can stop it once on their own and once at the 2-minute warning. If the Raiders pick up without thinking the mathematics totally through, I think 1 first down is going to be enough to do it. Next 2 weeks on Monday Night Football, a couple of beauties for you. Next week from the Dome in Houston, the Oilers coming off their win yesterday over Cleveland. 5 touchdown passes for Moon against the Bills, who've won 8 straight and are led by Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas, the league's leading rusher. And then need we say more 2 weeks from tonight? Giants, 49ers, Monday, December 3rd. A lot of very interested Bills fans and players looking on at this game tonight. First down from the 24-yard line. Steve Smith to the 25. Now the Dolphins want to take the timeout here. They look around and say no. 2nd down and 9. Raiders, of course, will take as much time off the clock as they can. And when the next snap occurs, we will be down to about 2:45.
Critical. The fact that Dolphins had to waste 2 timeouts. They would have stopped the clock there for sure.
2nd and 9. And Schrader takes a timeout.
Oh, Jay.
Ooh. And the Dolphins say thank you. And Shell can't believe it. I mean, I don't understand that at all. That one is hard to fathom. Wow. He had 8 seconds on the play clock. He obviously did not like what he had called against the defense, but
Art Shell
taking valuable seconds off that clock had he gone with whatever it was.
Art Shell, who doesn't show a great deal of emotion on the sideline. I really admire the way he keeps himself in check. It's safe to say that he's seething inside.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a Christmas gift on the 19th of November.
It sure is.
What a break for the Dolphins, and now they'll try to capitalize on it. The key thing is to stop the Raiders and get the ball back, obviously. 2nd and 9 from the 25-yard line, 2:53 remaining.
Well, the Miami pound machine can salvage what has not been a great night defensively by holding the Raiders here.
Bo Jackson out to the 33-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd down and 2. A 3rd down and 2. And now Miami will take a timeout, I believe. There's a whistle. Either that or somebody's hurt. J.B. Brown is down. Yep. Got a bloody mouth. And the Dolphins also have taken a timeout. It's an official timeout for Miami.
Quarterback J.B. Brown, who is having a whale of a season for the Dolphins. You can see the blood coming out of the mouth. I'm not sure he knows what area code he's in at the moment. He comes up head-on-head with Bo, and he took the brunt of it.
Let's get this straight. The Dolphins did not take a timeout. McCarter said officials timeout. Now they start the clock again. So the Dolphins still have that 1 timeout plus 1 of the 2-minute warning. There's the play clock. The game clock on the right.
Well, Brady's going to have to hustle this up.
Big play here. 3rd and a short 2. Marcus Allen.
He didn't get it.
No. He's stopped by Cliff Odom. McKyer also came in to help break the play up. And we have a 4th down. The officials again stopping the clock here. This is Miami's last timeout, and then they get 1 more at the 2-minute warning.
Why did the Dolphins take a timeout there?
I'm thinking the same thing.
Why?
That's the wrong. In 6 seconds, you get a free timeout, and then you save 1. You're exactly right.
Ordinarily, if there were 18 or 20 seconds, you take a timeout, but to save 6 seconds, and that's what they did.
Bad call.
They wasted their last timeout.
Yep, you're going to get the ball back on the punt anyway.
I can't believe that came from the sideline. Shula couldn't possibly have called that from the sideline. Somebody had to call that on the field.
Yeah, that's a bad timeout. Because if you just let the clock run down to 2 minutes, there's your timeout. You're going to get the ball back on the punt anyway, and then you still have a timeout to use on the drive.
Again, had there been 18 or 20 seconds, you use your timeout.
Well,
because they can run that off, but with just 4, 5, 6 seconds,
it's funny. Outside of these delay of games and timeouts, it's been a very well-played game. Not 1 turnover tonight. No fumbles, no interceptions, but some of the weirdest timeouts we've ever seen. Gossett, after a quick snap, it's fielded at the 33-yard line by Schwades. He gets out of bounds at the 42. The 2-minute warnings comes with 1:58 remaining. Miami trying to at least get into field goal position and force OT. They trail by 3.
If I could afford a sports sedan, the road would belong to me. Bob, I'd have one of those multi-valve engines, independent suspension, and of course a spoiler on the back. Yeah, if I could afford a sports sedan, life would be a cruise.
Oh, it's you, Bob.
Introducing the new Nissan Sentra SER, because rich guys shouldn't have all the fun.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
Bugle boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
The Black & Decker Air Station. It has all the pressure you need to inflate anything. Fast. The Black & Decker Air Station. Always at your service.
Now, on video cassette. If you don't buy the man in your life, Total Recall.
You wouldn't hurt me.
There's no telling what he'll do.
We're married.
Consider that a divorce. Total Recall. Totally yours for just $24.99.
Goodyear blimp providing that sight from high above Joe Robbie Stadium, where more than 70,000 have gathered tonight. 1:58 remaining. No timeouts left for Miami. First down at their 42-yard line.
Have to keep in mind, Pete Stoyanovich has been a hot kicker for the Dolphins, and he can kick it from way out. He's got one from 51 this year, one from 53, and a couple of years ago he had one from 59.
Dan Marino in the gun at the 42-yard line. Throws on the run. It's caught up at the 47-yard line. Catch is made by Tony Martin. It's going to be 2nd and 5. And again, the only way they can stop the clock is to throw it into the ground or go out of bounds. On 2nd and 5. Marino fires over the middle, and it's nearly intercepted. Gary Lewis got his hand on it. 3rd down. Intended for Stratford. 1:33 remaining. Stoyanovich keeping the leg loose. 59-yarder last year at the Meadowlands.
That was in kind of gale conditions, I might also add.
When you look at the amount of time remaining on the clock, Shula and Marino are able to go ahead and chip away with that 7 to 10 yard pattern. There is plenty of time to get up to the line of scrimmage, run another play. They haven't reached that panic stage yet with 93 seconds still left here in the game, even though they have no timeouts. Here on 3rd down, though, what they need is a 1st down.
Right, got to keep moving those sticks, and the Raiders may have helped them do it. No play. It's whistle dead. Howie Long came across.
Marino is also a master of the hard count at the appropriate moment.
I didn't see anybody move on the offensive line.
Encroachment, 75 defense, 5 yards. The penalty will make it a first.
It will be a 1st down. Gordon takes another look just to make sure it is a 1st down.
It won't be by much. It's right in the middle. Look at Howie really anticipating it and getting off. You notice here in a crucial situation, they moved Long over to the left side of the offensive line to his right side to go against the 2 rookies, Sims and Webb.
Crowd cheers as it's officially announced it's a 1st down.
Oh, and there is a critical error by Long and the Raiders. 2 downs away from winning the ball game, and that gives them a 1st down.
1st and 10. 1:33 remaining.
Dolphins really only need about 12 yards to put Stoyanovich well within range.
And Marino throws it behind Stratford, who was covered by Lewis. 2nd down. Again, what happens if the Raiders win? They remain in 1st place all alone, a game in front of Kansas City in the AFC West. If the Dolphins lose, they drop a game back of Buffalo in the AFC East. Second and 10 at the 47.
Oh, there's
and the Raiders came across again. Looked like Scott Davis.
Well, I think Harry Galbraith, the right guard, might have moved.
False start.
Yeah.
Number 62 offense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Oh, he hates to see that happen.
Boy, a tough night for old Harry. I think that's his 4th penalty. Here he is right here. Watch the movement. There it is. Well before the snap of the football. That draws Davis across the line of scrimmage.
I would usually tell you, Dan, how well Davis has been playing all night.
Boy, Harry is, this is a night to forget.
2nd and 15 at the 48. Marino has it batted by McDaniel. Terry McDaniel batted it away, intended for Schwady, and it's 3rd and 15. 1:22 to go.
Talk about just flicking out a left hand at the last instant and knocking the ball up into the air. This is Terry McDaniel showing some pretty good eye-hand coordination. Watch the left arm. Boy, he gets it in there and right off a fingertip. Oh. Nearly intercepted. Down to the wire. 3rd and what, 15?
Yep. Cooper split left, and with the Dolphins, love to see number 83 split right. Mark Clayton on IR.
Marino tries to get into the Raider 37 and can't. Swayze drops it at the 40. He put it right there. McDaniel with the coverage, and the Dolphins are down to a 4th and 15 to stay alive.
What
Perfectly thrown by Marino, but that's good coverage too.
But fabulous touch by Dan. I mean, he even arched this ball right in there, took something off of it. I think it hits Schwady right in the face, right through his hands. One of the best passes Dan Marino has made in a long time. Look how he is dropping that ball right in there and right through Schwady's hands and hits him in the face mask. That might be the best throw that this guy has made all night.
This is it.
Yep. They need 15 or the game is over. They have to get to the 37, and Marino gets hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Intended for Stratford, who came back to try to get it at the 34, and that will do it.
Just win, baby. Just win, baby.
I'll tell you, give a lot of credit to Davis and Howie Long. They kept the pressure up. Every one of those plays were a pass. They had to go back and line up, and it's like a wind sprint for a defensive lineman. And that time, Davis was pressuring, forced Marino to release it.
And so they can run the clock out, and the Raiders have really had the Dolphins' number through the years. The Raiders will now be 14-3-1 in the history of this rivalry.
Well, if you were going to summarize this evening from the Miami Dolphins' point of view, it would be simply 2 things. One, a very uncharacteristic defensive performance in getting pushed up and down the field. And secondly, again, totally out of character, a lot of mistakes and penalties. Things you don't see on a Don Shula coached football team.
And now the frustration on the Dolphins' part manifests itself here on the kneel down by Schrader.
And the Dolphins, with no timeouts, they can do nothing with the clock.
Clock will just tick down. The executive producer of Monday Night Football is Jeffrey Mason. Our producer tonight, Ken Wolf. Game directed by Craig Janoff. Technical director Joe Chavo. Our associate director Ben Harvey. Assistants to the producer Rick Abbott and Kurt Pfluger. Tech operations managers Jim Licata, Bob Simon, Dennis Zavo, otherwise known as Dennis Zabo, and our halftime associate producer Patrick McManus. Steve Hurd, our director of information. George Hill providing the stats up in the booth, and Malibu Kelly Hayes, our spotter nonpareil.
Both these ball clubs definitely for real, and we'll take a look at the Raiders again in, what, 3 weeks?
Against Detroit. Well, the Raiders go home in first place by a game over Kansas City. They meet the Chiefs Sunday at the Coliseum. Miami heads north to face Cleveland and now trail Buffalo by a game in the AFC East.
Congratulations to Big Art. I mean, this guy has come out of the assistant coaching ranks, a Hall of Fame player, and he is doing a superlative job with the Raiders. Excellent.
Final score, Raiders 13, Miami 10. Next week, the Dome in Houston. Oilers host the Buffalo.
The fever.
The guy in the car.
He had to be coming from Leiden.
That was over 8 hours ago.
Can you get the King Kamehameha too?
We're going out there, aren't we? Just you and I?
Well, we wouldn't want to outnumber him, would we?
Oh, no, of course not. Why do it the easy way?
Let's move in. I want to check it out first. Yeah, well, I think I want to check it out with you.
Suit yourself.
Tie up the sergeant major. We'll be right back. Give your gun to Floyd.